Hi, everybody. Welcome to our day 3 wrap up of the 2024 CrossFit Games. I'm Sean Woodland, being joined by Lauren Khalil, who's in Fort Worth, Texas. Lauren, how are you?
Good. You know, we're managing.
Yeah, and featuring Tommy Marquez, also in Fort Worth, Texas. How you doing, man?
I'm eating my feelings at this point. I just ate so much food for dinner.
So
Good for
much.
you.
And banana pudding to
And
end
banana
it.
pudding. That's yep.
I was jealous because on our group text, you asked Lauren if she wanted an acai bowl, and I was like,
I did.
"Mm,
They got some good ones here, Sean. I'm not gonna lie.
telling you, they're so good."
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they were fancier this time.
They were fancy in the right way, right? Like
Yeah, it wasn't an
I'm
overkill.
sure this is exactly what people are tuning into right now is for acai bowl talk, but maybe,
Food.
a little lighthearted discussion to start. But sometimes it can get a little much, right? When you're like, I'm cool with the coconut shavings, some chocolate chips, some granola. But when you start pulling out some like nuts and seeds from the Amazon and like some, you know, I don't know, grain that was first grown in, I don't know, the medieval times, then I'm like, okay, yeah, what am I eating? Is this bird food? Um,
What in the
this acai bowl, Sean, not to rub it in, was the one we got. It's called the double under.
Oh,
Because it had peanut butter on top and underneath. And so look at it,
To look at his
it
face.
hurts him. You guys can't see this, but it pains him right now.
it sounds so good.
And
Was
it
there
had,
fluff in it?
I don't know what that was. It might have been coconut milk or something, but
No,
there
it
was
was sweet.
it had 30 grams of protein in it too.
It did?
Yeah,
Didn't even read it. I
it
was
was
just like, yeah, I
fantastic.
get it.
Read it, son. You eat it. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you were able to enjoy one of those.
Yep.
So I wanted to give you my perspective because coming into this, I was like, okay, what are we going to focus on today? I think we'll talk a little bit more about the competition, but there's still some things, obviously going on from the aftermath of Thursday that we want to talk about. From my perspective, where I was sitting, watching this on TV, it felt a little more normal. I don't know if that was the case in person. And we were just talking before we came on here briefly, and we decided to shelve the rest of the discussion that we started to have before I hit record for now, because I thought it'd be a good conversation to have. But there's there's what most people are seeing, and then there's the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And
Yeah,
I'm getting the sense that those are two different things,
Mm-hmm.
or two
for
different
sure.
moves.
For sure. I'll speak. Lauren
Yeah,
can
because we were in two different
Yeah.
sections all day, so you can go first,
Yeah,
Sammy.
I mean, in the vibe in the arena was more akin to what you're used to seeing from the CrossFit Games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as the day developed and as more people poured in, the energy started to be a little bit more. Was definitely more upbeat. Um, the the music, the people dancing on the live stream. Um, the at one point the wave broke out. Um, and I'm not here to pass judgment one way or the other, but that is just more typical to what we're used to seeing.
Yes.
And at times it was like this feel like particularly during the clean ladder, right?
Yeah.
A very fast paced event that typically highlights something that people really rally around, at least in that stadium setting, the heavy lift, and for a snapshot in time and even if for a snapshot it felt like it was, well, I don't want to say CrossFit Games as usual, but yeah, I guess that's the best way to
It
put it.
appeared as usual, maybe.
Yeah. And but that wasn't necessarily the case all the time. And Lauren, you can speak to the athlete.
Yeah, so where I was, it was kind of underneath, or at least in a completely different section as to where the like the area where athletes compete in. So we can't hear any of the music. It's truly secluded. It's one of the warm up areas that the athletes are in before they compete, and then they'll come back down to that area, and there's monitors in there so you can watch the live stream, and one of them had audio, but it was down very low. But other than that, did still have that somber atmosphere there. And again, that's a safe space for athletes, so I don't want to get into too many specifics, but it it was quieter. There definitely wasn't any dancing. Like, sure, there were side conversations, and some of them, people were trying to make the best of what is unbelievably hard for all of those athletes right now. But it was very interesting to me because I spent most of the day down there. I didn't even go on the competition floor just because to get from the competition floor, unless you were an athlete, to down underneath to interview people, like the time would just take too long. So I just stayed there. And then when I came up, I was like, whoa, this atmosphere is very different than what I've kind of been around all day. And, a lot of coaches are down there, managers. So people just having conversations and a much milder tone.
Yeah. And we had more athletes withdraw today as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ariel Lowen, Emma Tall,
Danny Spiegel, Jacqueline
Spiegel.
Dahlstrom,
There were quite a
There
more
was
than
almost
enough to
more, right?
Moritz Fiebig.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm blending days together at this point.
I can't remember either, but I think Guy today as well, because I know Guy was on the
Yep.
field yesterday.
Yeah, Elisa Fuliano.
Mhm.
She may have done it mid-event, like midday yesterday. But this is just to kind of recap. Victoria Campos, Elisa Fuliano, Laura Horvath, Karin Freyova, Danny Spiegel, Emma Tall, Jacqueline Dahlstrom, Ariel Lowen have all withdrawn on the women's side.
Yeah.
That on the men's side, let me pull it up.
Adler for sure. Guy Mayeros.
Adler, Guy,
Moritz,
Luca.
Victor, but
Yeah.
Victor was medical.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samuel Cornoyer. Obviously Luca. Arthur Semenov was in. I believe
He
he
got
was
hurt,
injured.
right?
He got hurt. He hurt his bicep. Yeah.
And we'll talk. There's so much stuff that we need. Will be talked about after the fact. But it seems like on social media, if you're reading between the lines, the reason more people seem to drop out today is that there seems to be a disagreement, I guess I would say, over what exactly Luka Djukic and his family said was okay to CrossFit, or how that was executed. I don't know. That's what it seems like. And
I don't.
Is that accurate or not?
I don't want to speculate just because of Luca's post.
Sure.
Hold on, I'll read it.
I'm just interested if you talk to any athlete without naming names who may have confirmed that, or
there's a lot of he said, she said, they said, this is what I believe, this is what I interpret going on.
Oh,
I know Guy Mayeros' wife said I can't there was an outlet, and I can't remember what it was, had an interview with her too.
Oh, how did you
Fox
get
Life,
to that?
maybe?
It's on his story.
But didn't everything look different?
It did. Luca erased all of his social media presence except for the 2 photos with him and his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luca posted 8 hours ago, the only truth that the public will receive will come directly from me, and I'll do so when it's best for me and my family.
So that right there.
And until then, please respect us by not speculating.
Yeah, and that's why I don't necessarily want to.
Yeah.
Personally, I want to. Yeah.
But I know that people read that, and that's what, if you were online reading comments, reading social media stuff, that's where it went.
And people immediately started speculating.
Exactly.
It's like,
and so yeah, okay, we'll end that. And this is another thing that. So while there were more moments today where I enjoyed the competition, I found myself getting I really enjoyed the clean ladder. I like push pull 2.0. I thought it was cool that they brought that event back. That's still one of my favorite games events of all time. Had some more moments where I found myself, getting into it, cheering a little bit, saying, come on, this person. And that, a lot of the moments, especially in the clean ladder, were moments that I was used to seeing with the athletes high-fiving people in the crowd, the signing autographs. It just looked more normal. Now, there was, on the broadcast, there was really no mention of what happened Thursday. There was that didn't, there's a little bit, there was some some, alluding to it, and you had to when you had Brent Fikowski sort of getting emotional with
Oh, that
Mike
killed me.
Arsenal on the competition floor. So people,
Yeah.
it's out there. I don't know if that was a conscious effort or
I
not.
should rephrase that. I said that poorly.
Yeah,
That
upset.
yeah,
Well, and
upset
that's
me.
look, here's the thing. There are things that
That's
people
my
are going
bad.
to say, common phrases that we use every now and then that are just going to come out, and then it's
Uh,
going to happen, and that's no
yeah,
one means anything by it, but it's going to
yeah,
happen.
but
Okay,
I want to be respectful.
for sure. Uh, and I don't think. Oh yeah, that was clearly.
Yeah,
I get what
yeah.
you're saying.
But yeah, there were yeah.
I think it's important to remember that the fans in the stands right now are they're experiencing things in real time, whether they showed up Thursday,
Mhm.
whether they showed up Friday or today. And they're not sitting at home on social media, and maybe they are not as updated with everything that's going on and all of the emotion. And if you only know one little detail and then you show up, the
Mhm.
the experience is different. I just feel like the fans in the stands are experiencing the games very different than the people at home that
Yeah,
are kind of following all of the pain through social media, if
Yeah,
that makes
and
sense.
there are immediate discussions going on. I mean, I don't ever jump into the YouTube comments, and I rarely pay attention to them, but every now and then I'll just sort of glance over, and there
yeah,
are like immediate discussions happening there. If something gets
Mhm.
released on social media, someone mentions it, and then it just goes.
yeah.
Uh,
And
Obviously, that's not the case when you're watching on ESPN, but
Yeah.
yeah, and again, and all those people, both of those people are experiencing something different than what the athletes are, right? That are
Yeah.
a degree of separation closer,
yeah,
based on Lazar and Luca being peers of theirs, uh,
sure.
and yeah, it's
Well, I really was just interested because it just, and I said to Josh today, Josh Pirtle, who's here with me. I said to him, man, I go, this feels a little more normal. He goes, yeah, it does. And then we both said, yeah, but you think about it, and then it's just you remember
Yeah.
everything that's happening and everything that is going to happen once this is over.
yeah, and for some people, right, regaining a sense of normalcy is a way that they process
Sure.
and are able to grieve and cope, right? And for some, that's the exact opposite of what they want. And so
Yes.
again, it's important to reiterate that like there are different like just as the human experience is varied in so many ways, and that's no exception here. Um, in the aftermath of something awful. Uh, so yeah, and again, it comes down to like what Luke has said there is like, please stay away from speculating. And I think in the midst of that, like staying away from speculating, I'm like really actively trying hard not to like let that speculation can run wild and quickly become jumping to conclusions and taking you know actions without full information,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
just really trying to avoid that because we've had the other side of that, and like we had a chance to walk around a little bit, is having some you know one-on-one conversations with fans and people who
Yeah.
are, for some of them, they're grateful that you know media outlets like ourselves are there covering it, albeit differently for
Mhm.
sure, but also they're a lot of them look to a safe space or an escape for them, and that's coming here,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know, and so they're grateful in that regard. Full transparency, we as a team had a conversation on whether or not we wanted to even record something last night
Yeah.
and put it out this morning,
Yeah.
and we had almost every conversation with a fan we had today. They mentioned to some effect like waking up and seeing an episode from us this morning on a games morning was a sigh of relief for them.
Yeah, because I think that's just I think you're right. I think there's just some. It's like just normalcy helps. And that's why for me, we were talking about it yesterday that if I were in the athlete's shoes, and God forbid I ever am, like I don't want to be in that decision where have suffer that loss and have to like figure out if I'm going to go do something. But I would probably just I probably would have said, no, I got to push ahead because I can't sit and stew. Now, for me, that's the way I would.
Yeah,
Other
Yeah.
people need to sit and stew in it, and
absolutely.
so that's why we've said before, there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I got a few messages from people, and I really appreciated that as well.
Mhm.
But look, we can we can speculate a little bit about the competition. We can talk about what's going on here. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that whoever wins this wins the CrossFit Games. You're the CrossFit Games champion. I would not necessarily hang the mantle of fittest on earth.
I mean, yeah, but
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like winning a competition. That's good. Like the Rogue Invitational doesn't claim to crown the fittest on earth. They crown the Rogue Invitational champion. I think
Mhm.
just given the circumstances and given the fact that we missed out on an entire day of competition, I don't know if you can, and the fact that both of your defending champions decided not to compete. There's no shame in winning this competition, but I don't know if you say fittest on earth.
yeah, and I mean, that's almost in this is my personal approach. In the same vein, it's like I'm not necessarily going to pass judgment on the athlete that wins in
Me neither.
either way based on how they want to view that victory and what they want to call themselves,
Yeah,
you know?
CrossFit Games
Uh,
champion. I'm fine
yeah.
with it. But right now, and on the men's side, Brent Fikowski has the lead. Brent Fikowski has 583 points. He is 45 points up on James Sprague for second. How about James Sprague? Uh,
Mhm.
that is not a name I think any of us mentioned once
No.
coming into this competition about somebody who might be in contention for a podium spot. His name was never mentioned.
So
And,
he's interesting because from some people that I spoke with today, he recently moved back to Washington,
mhm.
where his dad lives, and he kind of has reignited that relationship,
His
and that
dad's
has really like put him in a good mental headspace. Um, and even when I spoke with him today, he was like, "I thought eventually I would wear a leader's jersey, but I never thought like this early in my career."
Mhm. It's
Um,
been impressive. He's been good. I mean, he's kind of had a hiccup the past two events. He went 21st in a clean ladder, and then 17th in push pull 2.0.
Mhm.
And Roman Krennikov is only 3 points back of him in third place. As Roman Dallin Pepper sits in fourth. Jason Hopper, Pat Vellner is in sixth. That's her moving all the way up from 32nd place. Jay Crouch, Ricky Garrard, and then Justin Medeiros, who was outside, I think, the top 10 before the clean ladder, moved into ninth. He's got 474 points. So he's still more than 100 back of Brent Fikowski.
I
But
I will say this because with regards to competition, I want my focus personally to be on things that were cool or like
sure.
quote unquote cool or things that were like moments of I don't know uplifting moments. And the one of the reasons why the clean ladder was that for me is one of my favorite moments from the last couple of years. And it was kind of like those moments where you can like we've talked about this before in the show. In college football, you have like your Heisman moment, right?
Yeah.
mhm,
It's like the moment you knew, right?
Mhm.
That
mm,
person was destined for greatness that year, or they secured greatness for the year. And for me, that moment for Justin Medeiros, the first time he won was in the 2021 back to back clean
Mhm.
sprint event, right?
Yeah.
Brent and Pat were on either side of him. Both got to the last barbell ahead of him. Both missed, and Justin marched right up the pipe, hit it, and jumped ahead. And that felt like a similar moment today.
Yeah.
the 5 pound PR nonetheless.
Yeah,
And Chase Ingram had a great call on it too. If you go back and watch the energy and it's great. It was awesome. Like that moment, like you say, cool things that made you feel like good. That moment brought me back to normalcy, made me realize that, yeah, that's why I love this.
Mhm.
But the problem is that then you look and you see the storm coming,
Well,
you
it's
know?
one of those things is you catch yourself in the zone of the
Sure.
sport that we love and we're celebrating, and then at least for me the experience has been, "Oh, I'm cheering for somebody," and then almost immediately I'm like, "I feel kind of
Yes.
guilty
Yes.
cheering for somebody right now
Yeah.
yeah.
I
given the
get it.
circumstance."
Yep. I know. It's like, is this appropriate? I don't know. And there's
But I
no
don't think anybody knows. Yeah, there's
there's
no
not
right or wrong. Everybody grieves differently. We said it yesterday.
for sure. And then so we'll go over to the women's side and update you on that. We have Tia Toomey I got to sort my, I was looking at workout 7. So here we go. Boom. Tia Toomey, 655 points. She is 60 points up on Gabby Magawa for first place. Her lowest finish is 7th. So there you go. Emily Rolfe sits in 3rd, 554 points. She is 34 points up on Bethany Flores for that final spot on the podium. Haley Adams, 5th place. Amy Kringle sits in 6th, although Amy has been heading the wrong way. She had a 19th and a 21st in the last 2 events. Paige Semenza is in 7th. Grace Walton sits in 8th. Brooke Wells is in 9th, and it's Maddie Sturt rounding out the top 10. And Alexis Raptis kind of righted the ship, finally got inside the top 10 in a finish. And I know we talked to her, Lauren, I think as you talked to her
Yeah.
she's you have to put sort of an asterisk by a lot of these performances because they're not in the ideal headspace. These are not ideal conditions. This is just, you have to kind of, I don't want to say throw out, but forgive some of these performances. I thought Raptis would be doing better at this point, but I also didn't think anybody would be dealing with what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
She's also like, I thought she like seeing her on the floor today. I thought there were moments where she competed with more joy than she had in the past 2 days.
Yeah.
See, when she crossed the finish line today, like she turned and there was like a sense of relief and like happiness that she'd hit that last lift. And she was like, it was the biggest smile that I had seen from her this week.
After the clean ladder?
Yeah.
Did you say? Before she went on the floor for the final event, she was on the rower warming up, and Travis came over and he whispered something to her. And I was like, "Oh, what did you say?" And he was like, "I just told her to have fun out there. Like, she needs to have fun."
I was already a Travis Mayer fan.
I love him.
I'm
He's
becoming
great.
a Travis Mayer mega fan.
Yeah.
I was saying to Tommy, I think at dinner today, you look at people like him and Brent and Pat, and they've been in this sport so long, and I also think it speaks to kind of their age and they're wise beyond their years type deal, but they're just very honest and they call things how it is, and I think that, like, that can be really relatable for people.
Well, and I think it's comforting because there is a sense of, these men are grieving, but there's a sense of calm that they exude.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, I think that's just reassuring. That here's a guy they're all upset. Brent was clearly upset today. Pat is clearly upset. You could tell on Friday he was really upset. Like they are obviously dealing with something. But when you see them, you deal with it with a lot of grace and try to be humble about it and communicate their feelings, about what's going on, like Travis did track the other night, and we used that soundbite in what we put out last night. There's just something reassuring about that. To me, there is. So I've become a very big, more than I was. I mean, I'm a fan of all these athletes,
Yeah.
But you see something, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I really like that person now. That's go Travis. Team side. So Raw Iron CrossFit Mayhem Thunder. Man, they've had a great competition. Nothing lower than 4th, and they won their first event in Three Amigos. 464 points. CrossFit Torian Mayhem. So you have 2 Australian teams in the top 2.
Wasn't that one of our over/under picks?
Well,
it was Europe.
Marcel with 360 and Invictus were going to be the top 2. So right now that does not look like it's going to happen. And then CrossFit Mayhem. How about that right now? They are in 3rd place with 444 points, and they are 32 up on Peak 360. But Peak 360, they got some momentum. A 1st and a 3rd in their last 2 of all, other than the Raw Iron and CrossFit Mayhem Thunder. Those are the best 2 events you got right there of any 1st and a 3rd. Mayhem Thunder was 2nd and a 1st. And then after that, after Peak 360 and 4th, you got CrossFit Oslo, Krieger, BLST. Now, there's a huge drop off there because the top 4 are all above the 400-point plateau, with Peak 360 being 4th at 412. Oslo, Krieger, BLST in 5th has 357 points, and then Invictus has 339. So they're in 6th. So those 2 teams, I don't know how many events we have left for the teams. Is it 2? I mean, they have to.
Let me look at the schedule.
In the schedule as we record right now, the latest is that they're going to start at 9 a.m. Central Time with the teams. Then the individuals go after that. That's all we know. I don't think we know any events yet. At least we're efforting that information right now. But the team competition has been it's been pretty good. But this further, like, even under normal circumstances, I think if you look at the crowd during the team competition compared to the individual competition, I think the team competition is about to be spun off as well into something else. And maybe it should be. And we've talked about this before. This is a conversation for another day, but we've had it in the past. Like, I like the format. I'm looking forward to seeing what Wadapalooza does in SoCal and how that goes over, because I think that could be a much more compelling team format moving forward that would allow individuals to come together and compete on teams. And that could be a ton of fun. So just something to keep an eye on there, because I've been watching the stream, and it doesn't seem that people are super interested in the team competition.
Yeah.
It looks like there's 2 events for teams, but there's like a gap that says TBA.
Okay.
So
TBA.
unsure.
Okay. Well, that's where we stand. So we have 2 more events for the individuals, correct?
We don't
Also
know.
TBA.
Okay.
At least 2.
At least 2, because
And
we're supposed to
apparently
have 11, and we would have been through 9 had everything gone as planned by at this point.
And apparently athletes have been asked to arrive earlier than originally communicated to be fit for equipment.
Interesting. That's probably a yoke or a squat rack or a bench.
Oh, I didn't even think of a yoke. But how long does that take?
Yoke doesn't take long.
Doesn't take long. You just have
Yeah.
to get under, stand up, make sure it's
Yeah.
could be something else, but that'll be interesting. Okay. Anything else we want to touch on here? I'll reiterate what I said.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
So we have been pushing the GoFundMe account, which is still active and people can still donate it. And Sean, if you can, since this is audio, can you put the link in audio?
Yeah, let me.
If not, we have it in our link tree on our Instagram. But
Yeah.
also, GoRuck is running a pre-order for the Djukic jersey,
Yes, I saw that.
and all of their proceeds are going to the family. So that's another way that you can support.
Yeah, if you go to GoFundMe.com and you just search Lazar Djukic Support Fund, it's up to nearly $400,000 right now. They had a goal of 200 grand, but who cares? Keep pushing. GoFundMe.com and just search Lazar Djukic Support Fund. So thank you for reminding me on that. But yeah, I'll reiterate kind of what I said last night. It's that, we, like everybody else, are trying to navigate our way through this the best that we possibly can. There is no manual for this. We are trying to be respectful of everything going on, try to acknowledge the fact that everyone grieves in a different way. And if you're someone who thinks that the game should have been canceled, I have no argument with that. If you're someone who's happy that they're going on and that's the right way to do it, I got no argument with that either. And I hope that we as a community can not snipe at each other if we have differing opinions on this, because as Tommy said, there's no right or wrong way to grieve here. And we know that in the weeks, because this is going to go on, this is going to have a long lasting effect, and it's going to hang over this community for a long time. As we move forward, I am not going to sit here and promise that we're going to get it right all the time. We're going to try to.
Yeah.
We're certainly going to make the best effort to be respectful as we possibly can and try to talk about things in the most respectful manner that we possibly can. There are some things that we are going to be addressing and talking about as we end competition, because as I said earlier, you see something and you get excited that happens on the competition floor and you cheer a little bit, and then you look out the window and you see the storm coming, and that kind of brings you back down. And that we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about that, because this reminds me a lot of the time that it was right before the COVID games, where you had the everything, all the fallout from Greg's tweet and all the athletes that were saying I'm out. And this kind of feels the same way, that there's this just building momentum behind these athletes who are like, I'm done. And I don't know if it just means they're done with the games right now, if they're done in a larger capacity, but it does have that same feeling that that's kind of what's happening here.
Yeah.
So
time will tell. A lot of emotions are happening, and I think it's okay if people change their minds as they go on.
100%.
Emotions change, and
Yeah.
I think that that's also something we need to give grace with, that if an athlete decides to feel one way one day and the
Absolutely.
next something different, I mean, these athletes are now trauma bonded together. Everything that was experienced on Thursday and through this weekend is trauma for people.
Mhm. Yeah, it's gonna I mean, there's a lot. There are more questions than answers. There's a lot that needs to be sorted out, and this community and sport is going to be forever changed because of it. And we're gonna try to address it, break it all down, discuss it, give you information as best as we possibly can, and in the most respectful manner that we can. And
Should be kind to each other. That's
yes, please, just it's so disheartening when you and I know that this is a little sliver of things, but when you look on social media and you look at the arguments that are happening, and you look at the comments, sometimes like, what? Come on, can't we just get through this and then figure some things out? I don't know. Okay,
I would tell you this: conversations of that, the confrontational conversations of that nature aren't happening on site.
Agreed.
that is why I have always said,
Being in person's always better.
go to the games in person and experience the community there and the community in person, and it is night and day from
Yeah.
that's probably any community, night and day from what's happening online on social media. So that's
I
good
mean,
to hear.
today when Tommy and I went to dinner, the people sitting right in front of us, they, said hello, they were fans of the podcast, and then we basically conversed the
We're-
entire dinner like we were all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking to face, you get a lot more done and a lot more, you find a lot more common ground than you
Oh
do
my
just
gosh. And
earlier.
I have to give a special shout out. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just realized this. I don't want to forget.
You look like
Um,
you're in food coma, by the way.
dude,
Tommy's hurting.
I ordered the blue plate special barbecue. I just had a whole plate of Babadoo and just, I mean, it was the kitchen sink.
And then
and,
topped it off with
Mhm.
and
banana pudding.
yeah,
Mm,
It was
they,
good.
got the itis.
yeah, they, our food took a while. And as an apology, the manager came over and was like, we'll take care of some of the stuff on the bill and we're going to bring you dessert. And I mean, I'm I'm human, Sean.
I can't say no to
I
that.
can't say no to free
It was free.
dessert.
What am I supposed to do?
Exactly. And speaking of humanity, Brand, Brandon, one of our patrons, who hit me up. He's been a longtime supporter of ours, and he comes on to our Patreon Q&As. Brandon McFall. I meet up. He goes, I want to meet up. I have something for you. I know this is a tough time, and I just had a really tough conversation. And he saw me and comes up and he goes, you're gonna be a dad soon. Every dad needs a fanny pack. So I got you something.
There. Oh,
He got me the he
it's
got
a
me the
WWE title belt. Oh, that is.
fanny pack, and it's a 5. It's a cooler too.
Oh my, you win.
Oh, and honestly, it turned my day around.
That game strong.
It
That
turned
game
my
strong.
it turned my day around for sure. And so,
Yes,
Brandon, I hope you're listening to this episode. If not, I'll say it again. But thank you so much, man.
that's fantastic.
It
Thank you.
it, it was a spark that I needed to turn my day around a little bit.
That's good. All right. Well, we got one more to go, and we're going to recap this again tomorrow night. We'll again try to balance some competition focus with sort of what's going on there in the field on site, and I'll try to give my perspective of what it kind of feels like watching it on TV with Josh Purble, and maybe Josh and I'll
Yeah.
make another piece of content together.
And you best believe I'm going to teach my future kid the proper technique of a German suplex
Yes.
with this fanny pack on.
Yeah, I know. My son is just about big enough for me. I've body slammed him like gently a few times. I think we're gonna graduate to some more advanced moves here pretty soon. So,
Mhm.
all right, you guys need to get some sleep.
Yep.
Thanks so much, everybody, for listening. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. If you're watching at home, enjoy the games. If you're on site, have a good time. Rally with the community. Say hi to people, high five, give hugs, whatever it takes. Shake hands, chest bump. I don't care. Just try to spread some positive energy. Help each other through this. See somebody down, try to pick them up a little bit. Try to try to share a smile. I
For
guess
sure.
that's the only thing I can say.
Yep.
All right. That's it. For Tommy Marquez and Lauren Khalil, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other, please. Be better. And we will talk to you guys next time.